out by hand. There are places in which the author's writing becomes illegible or otherwise unintelligible, and a few pages that appeared to be out of order. We have edited these sections for clarity, based on what we believe to be her intent. We have noted where any text has been altered. We have also provided additional information to add context to some of the author's statements. This ranges from correcting historical facts she has related erroneously, omitted, or even made up entirely, to including contradicting accounts of some of the personal elements of her story. We did our best to locate and interview people who knew the author while she was alive, in order to verify as much of the manuscript as possible. Of course, when alternate versions of events are reported by different people, it can be hard to distinguish whose version is closest to the truth. We felt that having advised readers of the conflicting accounts, they could be left to draw their own conclusions. Most notably, perhaps we have not been able to confirm the existence, let alone the practices, of the institute Dr. Gregory describes. We did manage to track down one or two personal accounts by people who claim to have spent time there, but they were far from credible and gave few details. In an interview with the Fringe magazine, for example, a musician claimed to have served time in a closed facility somewhere near Providence, Rhode Island. A patient undergoing psychiatric care in Berlin asserted that they knew of a covert North American hospital. We were unable to verify these claims, so while they did alter our own perception of the text, we felt it would be unethical to include details of them. At this stage, they are a little more than rumor. We have refrained from editing the manuscript other than the small adjustments noted. Readers should be prepared to encounter the following text as a largely unaltered, highly unreliable personal account of a life. Dr. Gregory has taken no pains to be consistent stylistically or even factually. She writes at times with clarity and intention, but often lets herself slip into stream of consciousness. It appears that the writing took place over the course of some years, with bursts of activity followed by long stretches of rest or disinterest. All of this makes for somewhat confusing reading at times, but we have endeavored to bring clarity where we can. As the author is now dead, and due to the lack of firm corroborating evidence for her story, we are somewhat reluctant even to label this text a memoir. Perhaps it is simply fiction, set against the backdrop of reality. We leave it to the listener to judge.
Part 1. The End. 1. I was born into the apocalypse. It's probably unhelpful to throw around a word like apocalypse, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you whether it's even apt. It looks like an apocalypse from here, or from now. From a distance, it looks like the world ended. Maybe it did. But, and I suspect that this isn't something people like to admit, I've seen a lot of people who lived through that time not admitting this. It didn't feel like an apocalypse. It just felt like life. For the most part, anyway. I'm sure there were moments, I'm sure there were times when the constant pressure of catastrophe shook my bones, but for the most part it went unnoticed, familiar, like a nearby train that passes every day. Moments pass, and it's hard to focus on the chaos about you, war and disease for miles around, when what's in front of you is so close. I grew up at the end of the world, and all that mattered was what was for dinner. The generations who did not experience the Great Reckoning think of it as a cataclysm, with a clear beginning and end, like a curtain opening and closing on a 40-year-long epic tragedy. But the end of the world comes with neither whimper nor bang. It unfurls its blossoms slowly, majestically, one moist, black petal at a time. When I was an infant, the reckoning was merely a war, born of allies and treaties, of minor uprisings leading to fists-pounding podiums across continents.
As with many of her generation, Dr. Gregory's birth date is unknown. Due to the widespread bombing that took place during the Great Reckoning, many